the demographic to even have reach to even show other people what's even possible. Raising new bars was so limited. And it reminded me of like forever, no one thought it was humanly possible to run a 4-minute mile until someone did.
Somebody did.
It was impossible. But once someone did, like just a few months later, someone else did. Yeah. Just a few months later, thousands did. Because they knew what was possible. It was possible.
And that's exactly it.
Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, welcome back to the Tattoo Guardians podcast. Today's an epic show, and you got all three of us. Myself, Hip, Joshua Carlton, and a fabulous guest, Mez Love, good longtime friend of Josh. And we talk about so much under the sun. One of the big ones is Mez is writing a brand new book covering so much for all of us in the industry, past, present, and future. It's going to be epic, so we talk about the insides of that. And then we do a lot of cutting up and talking shit and just having fun and, making each other cry, laughing a lot on this episode. Josh is on one for sure. So we just have a lot of fun. I don't remember, a lot of recent episodes we've laughed a lot, but I don't remember laughing as much as we just did tonight on this episode. So it's going to be a fun and light one, too. Stay tuned. Thanks for listening.
Hello, everybody. I'm so happy to be back. It's been a while. So I've been sitting here with my good friends, and I'm extremely excited to have today's guest on. We've got Mez Love, who's been a friend of mine for, I think, 14 years now. Yep. 2007. My math is terrible.
Yeah, I think it was around 2007.
And Mez is actually visiting from San Francisco, and she is writing a book. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. So what is some of the stuff that gave you the idea for this book? And have you, this is not your, but this is your first book,
It's my first book, yeah. I've done some writing before. This is my first time doing nonfiction, though.
Nice.
So what got me to write the book was I've had 4 apprentices in my life. One of them is my business partner, Deanna Warden. I apprenticed her about 12 years ago. God damn it. Now I'm bad at math. We've done this so many. No, it was more than 12 years ago. I think it was about 14 years at this point. We have one woman, Stevie Varon, who's amazing, who's been working with us for about 7 or 8 years. And one does not currently work with us. And then the 4th one is currently apprenticing under us. And we always give people a lot of homework when they're apprenticing.
Hey, real quick, and you know what, y'all, in case for all our viewers that are watching the show, they are set up at Black Brush Studios this round.
Here in
at Mr. Carlton's
Turn it
shop.
down.
There's something. There's a gaggle of gals getting dolphin tattoos over there and shit. He's like, "Yo, bitches, we on the show right now."
My thought process was like, "Hey, it's a tattoo shop. That's what everybody expects." But
yeah,
I was getting a little wily there.
I lost it when he snapped.
I did. Yeah. He snapped. That means you know he's serious, boy.
Yep.
Snap it down, boy.
I got that from my dad.
You won't like him when he snaps.
You don't like him when he snaps.
Real quick on the apprentices, because you mentioned and named the first 2, even told us their sex, and then the 3rd and 4th were almost its. Which is fine. But were they also females? I'm curious. You've only had 4 in your life. Okay.
No.
So you have
half and half. So Deanna, who's my business partner, Stevie, who still works with us, Kyle Porter, who is an awesome tattooer. I think he's actually he just moved. I want to say he's in Kentucky, but I'm sorry if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
That was about 10 years ago. And then Chris Peralta is apprenticing under us right now. He was actually at Evergreen with us. That was his first convention experience. He'd only been working with us for about a month at that time. So
what did you think?
Oh God, he was overwhelmed. He fucking loved it. He was just like,
yeah.
He didn't know what to do. He was like, I feel like I've been surrounded by greatness, but I don't know what to do about it. But it was a really good experience.
Yeah.
He was. And I told him he can't go to other conventions now because it's been
ruined, right?
Yeah.
Or if he wants to feel better about himself, maybe he should.
Right, that's true. That's true.
Just to get a little confidence back.
Right. There you go.
But No, that's
So, yeah.
awesome. Yeah. Go ahead.
All of the apprentices, including the current one, it's been a combination. Either just me apprenticing Deanna, my business partner. All of the other ones were a combination of me and Deanna apprenticing them, and one time with Chris, 2 times with Chris also. Sorry, I don't have a good memory. That's why I want you to write a fucking book to write shit down.
My address is.
Right? You spell my name with an M. But we strongly believe in like knowing some tattoo history, so we usually give people a lot of like writing assignments, like 2-3 page papers, book reports, shit like that. And I've always been frustrated every single time. I'm like, I feel like somebody needs to write this book about the tattoo renaissance is what I call
there
it.
you go, yeah.
Of like 2007, 2006, around there, where shit just changed overnight, and it was so overwhelming while it was happening. And I wanted to. I got sick of not being able to read the book, so I was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna do it."
If you want something done, you got to goddamn do it
That's
yourself.
right. That's fucking right. That's how I do.
So from what I understand, you are interviewing artists. I'm very lucky to be one of the artists being interviewed. Or she lied to me to get on the podcast. We'll see. But
Who would do that?
right. But so you're interviewing artists that have been tattooing for like 30 years.
Yeah.
Right?
So most of the beginning of the process was interviewing people that had been tattooing for at least 22, 25 years.
Because you're 25 years in, right?
I'm going to be
24?
25 years in January.
That's amazing right there.
So
That's amazing.
Thank you.
And a couple of the people I interviewed even no longer tattoo. They actually quit because of the pandemic or because of like a back injury or something that made it hard for them to tattoo anymore. But just to kind of like hear the experiences from people that had different backgrounds, because like I know what I went through. Josh and I have talked about it in the past. I know that they're like kind of similar. I've heard other people talk about it. It all seems kind of similar. And I just wanted to make sure I wasn't just like being like, okay, my bubble says this. Because it felt like it literally happened overnight.
It really does. I mean, I'm guessing social media had a huge part.
I know it did.
You know, I use
tattooartist.org.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah,
site?
I do.
For me, that was it.
Yeah.
That was like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Where did these people come from?
Yeah.
That's where I found you.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
You want to talk about that?
Let's talk about how we met.
So do either of y'all know about tattooartist.org from, I don't even know what, it would have been 2006, 2007.
Yeah.
If that's when I met you.
I was in prison then, so I do not.
Okay.
I remember it, but I don't remember shit about it. It just rings a bell.
So it was the first one that I remember seeing, at least, that was like pretty well put together by 2006 standards, of course.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like any artist could upload their own photos and have their own little page. It was almost like a MySpace for tattooers, I guess, but less sexy.
Yeah.
Not that MySpace was very sexy. But there was also these like kind of like, you could kind of rate like who your favorite artist is of the week, and everybody, you could choose how to show off who you were. And there would be like this little ongoing in the corner, like the top 10 of the week or whatever.
Yeah.
And he was on there kind of a lot.
Yeah.
I was snapping. I was fucking snapping.
Dude, and it was scary as fuck.
Like, put me on the fucking list.
But I was like, fuck this guy. I'm going to eat his heart, because there's no way all that talent is allowed to be in one person. And I literally wrote something like that on my live journal, where I posted a couple of his photos, and I was like, fuck this motherfucker. I'm going to kill him because it's not fair how good he is, or something like that.
I remember that. I was like, I don't know how to take this.
Right. And a few weeks later, it wasn't even like right after I did it, this guy was back home in Shelbyville at the time, and he vanity searches himself, like looks up his own name, finds my blog, where I'm like, fuck this guy. And he left a really lovely comment that was like, hey, your work is really nice too.
So, of course, I'm nice to her, right?
And I'm just like, what is happening? And I even told you earlier the part about my ex-husband was a bit more computer savvy than I was. He wasn't home when this happened, but my first thought was somebody's fucking with me. And I was like, Josh isn't reaching out to me.
Yeah.
And but I remembered hearing the words IP address that my ex-husband had said, and I'm like, oh, I know what that is. I wonder if I could see where this comment came from. And I was smart enough to figure out how to do that, and it came from Shelbyville, and I was like, holy shit, this is really That's really him.
Nope.
Yeah.
So that's actually the reason that we know each other, is because I told him I was going to eat his heart, and then he'd vanity.
I wish I had a screenshot of that.
Me too. And I tried to go back and find it.
I would print it out and hang it in the shop for sure.
So good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like I might have mentioned you working for me. Like maybe even like you find yourself wanting to come to this area.
We talked about it a little bit. I was in Colorado at the time, and I remember like taking it kind of seriously. And you did kind of do the like, now think about this is
Small
a small town.
Yeah.
Like, are you sure? And then like shit started happening for me, and life happened.
Moved to San Francisco relatively quick after that. Yeah. So I think that's an interesting story.
Yeah.
And we've been extremely good friends ever since. So one of my favorite things is all the bullshit I'm going through. I forget sometimes about laughing, and that's one of the reasons I love coming on the podcast with you guys. We get to just kind of kick it right and laugh. Yeah. And Mez flew in from San Francisco, and as soon as we met up and had dinner, it was like we could not see each other for like a year or more, and we just reconnect immediately. Right. And so when I was leaving dinner, I was telling Nikki, I was like, man, I needed that so bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, it's just, there's just certain people that bring that light. You know what I mean? So I'm definitely honored to have you as a friend.
Man,
for sure.
Two-way street. Like whatever.
Awesome.
I'll just keep gushing. I'll do it later when you're not looking.
Right. And then for our listeners too, let's not forget. So you should definitely check out Mez's work. Instagram is probably the best, right? Is it just under Mez Love?
Mez Love Tattoos.
So Mez Love Tattoos. So make sure you check that out, like and follow the work. It's amazing. As soon as I'm able to get tattooed again, one of my first stops is San Francisco for sure. Not to get tattooed by her, hell no. But San Francisco is cool out here. I want to go on that real windy road, Lombard Street.
So
good,
Mez. For starters, you're intimidating, and it's nothing that you do. It's just me, and knowing that like you've been in the game that long, and you're actually one of the giants of shoulders of which I stand on is even more intimidating. So I appreciate that. And something I'm super curious to know is like in this book, being a woman and being in the industry, I'm sure you put up with a lot of bullshit over the years. And have you even seen a change in that as well?
Oh, great question.
Yeah, I have, but I don't honestly know how much of it is because the people I surround myself with, to be really honest, and like where we chose to open our shop, like it's a pretty dope fucking area. Like I have not experienced that kind of shit since living in Colorado. It was really bad for me when I was young, but I don't know how much that was my age. I don't know how much of it was the year. I don't know how much of that was Colorado.
Yeah, because San Francisco is obviously going to be
way more progressive, a little bit less. You don't get away with being shitty the way that you do.
Yeah, closer to how it is here, even genes closer to that. So that's a great question, though.
But I've talked to like this week on this trip. I've been actually interviewing younger artists because I kind of wanted to get the perspective of people that have only been tattooing in a world where there's always been Instagram, like in a world where you've always had access to these like tools that they're confusing and annoying, and the algorithm changes and shit, but like you have this free advertising like ability that we had to buy fucking phone book ads.
Yeah. So like I remember when I used to write, when I wrote my book, I actually made a deal with the supply company Kingpin. I made postcards, and they would put a postcard in every order.
Oh wow!
To get because there was no Instagram or anything like that. I sound so old. There was no Instagram, and we walked uphill both ways. And,
what's a postcard?
Right. Yeah. But we had to tattoo magazines, which were crazy expensive. If you wanted a real like actual size ad, I mean it was like $1,000 per magazine at least. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I mean, I get obviously social media is what changed it the most. But I love how you're doing the dynamics of both, because we could hear, Mez and I were just talking, and I was like, I was tattooing before magnums were invented. Yeah. She's like, me too. Me too. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's so crazy.
The first back piece I ever did surprisingly still looks pretty good, and I did it with a 5-liner, the whole thing.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I didn't even know about flats. The guy that taught me, we could have a whole other podcast just talking about shitty apprenticeships from the past, but like, I didn't even know. I thought there was 5s and 7s. Liners. That's what you got.
Yeah, I remember when somebody told me about a Magnum, I thought they were bullshitting me.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, it's 2 rows like shark's teeth. I'm like, yeah, that'll fucking work, dumbass. Next you're gonna tell me you use speed stick to put on your stencils. You know what I mean? So, which brings me back around. So Hip, several times I brought up artists that you just weren't familiar with. That my brain is crazy, but I get it. You've been in the game for a bit now, but did you use? Well, I know you tattooed in prison. But, so did you use speed stick like out of prison?
Well. Yeah, so basically
like,
everything I learned. Yet? No, there was, totally, but I didn't know. I didn't know about it.
Okay.
So technically, I actually did my very first tattoo on myself 2007, and I tattooed a lot in prison, but I really just learned how to scar people and stretch skin.
Sure.
Got out and kept doing it for dope, and I made my own machine. I would go to someone's fucking kitchen, and they'd be like, "How do you know the needle's sharp?" And I would fucking sharpen it and stick it in my finger, and I'd be like, see it dangles, that means it's sharp.
Oh my god.
But I use speed stick, and I didn't know about I didn't know about stencil paper. So what I would do is I would do a fucking pen outline on the one side, flip it over, put it up to a window, and do it on the back, put it on, and like, you better get it on quick, because that shit is not lasting.
Damn.
So that's what's so amazing is. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was just going to. Then it just turned into fucking, the dope hustle, and then fucking.
Right.
I luckily found myself going into a hole in the wall shop, which I started finding things like colors, and I'm like, oh, you can get these not in fucking pens, and they're like, yeah, they actually make fucking color.
I think that Hip is such an amazing example of like how you really can't judge somebody.
No.
Let's say you're guest spotting here, right? And somebody comes in with their portfolio and it's just shitty. This is exactly what you expect it to be. You can tell they're on dope. They might fucking be a Hip one day, though.
I know.
Hip's an amazing tattooer. It's like, it's crazy. Like, you just never know. You're not able to really look and say, you're going to be.
Yeah.
It kind of blows my mind. Right?
I love that. I actually love that shit.
I do too. So.
I do that a lot. I like just fucking my version of daydreaming.
Right.
It's just like looking at some dude on the bus or like in a store and just being like, I wonder what they're really good at. Like,
right.
I wonder what are their hopes and dreams?
Right.
What are they doing?
Mez constantly gets kicked off of buses.
It's really embarrassing. Yeah. I'm always trying to interview homeless people.
He's the next Guy Aitchison.
Right.
So because Hip will bring up names that a lot of times I have to go look up because they're very new and they're amazing. Because tattooing is like, you remember the days when there was a handful of really good artists, and I just dreamt of being one of them. I just wanted to be one of those included. But now, I mean, Instagram will fucking punch you in the face constantly. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Who was it you just told me about right before we started this that I had to like look up, and then I was like, oh, I'm already following him. I do that.
Daniel Breivik.
Every day. I can't even, I don't have room in my head for all the.
Yeah, it's just amazing.
It's insane.
And see, I can understand where like, old schoolers come from, because like, as Josh is stating, you only had a handful to look up to. So it's like those names were fucking pounded in your psyche for so many years, and now it's like so many come up, it's like hard to keep track. And then like someone like me, like trying to have respect for the history and know the OGs and shit, it's like just there's a whirlwind of amazing artists going on right now, and it's like it's so hard to keep track of everybody. And
so that's the thing. And so like, I'm glad we're talking about this because I wanted to bring something else up. So tattooing has already changed at this incredibly rapid pace. But are you guys familiar with this AI stuff that's been going on? And it just seemed like it popped up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Are you guys familiar with? Have you seen some
of
it?
One of my, I just opened a package in your booth this morning, Hip, or yesterday morning, and it was a gift from one of my students who created me a painting, and it looked like a beautiful oil painting, and I flipped through the canvas, and it was gallery wrapped, and everything on the back was a handwritten love note from him to me, just full of gratitude. It really blessed me. But he told me this is a painting that was created by AI, and he just used certain words to express prompts and express his heart and some of the lessons that I teach in TBM, and this AI thing painted it. And it's, I'll have to show it to you guys. I didn't bring it here tonight, obviously.
Maybe Mike can post it up on the screen.
Yeah, and you know how we talk about being teachable and coachable and showing up open with as an empty cup. And so part of that, he had talked about that. So it almost looks like it's like a wine glass that's like being broken and emptied, but it looked like a really well done oil painting. But he said it was done by AI. So
that's wild.
It was wild.
Yeah,
Since you bring it up,
it's so crazy because it's like it seemed like it popped up out of nowhere. So from what I understand,
to the point, Josh, if you'd have asked me this 3 episodes ago, I would have said no. Don't know what you're talking about.
And this is revolutionary. Mm-hmm. So the big one right now seems to be a company called Midjourney.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, it's not an app. You have to go through Discord, and I think you have to be invited. But I think there's also ways that you can kind of get
Some of it's insane.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how it works, and then there's a company called, I think it's Dolly, and they've just come out with a beta 2 for theirs, and it's astounding. Like, I mean, you can't tell that it's not a photograph at all. You can choose your lens like on a camera. So even the days of Google searching and us all having the same images. So a lot of people think that the computer is going and picking Google images and putting them together. I thought that at first as well. Today, I actually learned, and I could be wrong, but this is the info I got, that it's not. That it's actually created completely holy, from this AI is so wholesome.
It's so good. It's like Mr. Rogers.
But from
Little
the computer.
House.
So, so literally, like, if I was like, cat with sunglasses playing banjo, not only will it make it instantly, I can click on it and get more versions, I believe, pretty much infinitely. And then if Mez were to type in the exact same prompts, she's going to get other versions, right?
Wow.
So as far as the client coming in and wanting what we would normally say is a pain in the ass tattoo, a koi fish with a mustache and a fucking mohawk, whatever, riding a motorcycle, it could be cool, but it's like, I got to put all this together.
I was going to ask for that, but
right, nailed it. But you can just type it in and there's your reference, right?
Yeah.
So
wow.
I mean, you'll see. We'll revisit this podcast in 2 years. I guarantee you shit will be completely different.
Man.
Yeah, I'm definitely curious.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by it.
Yeah.
Never tried it. I have never tried it, but I would love to try it out. Even to get inspiration.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because you can type in, like, in the style of Matt Clemmer. You can, and it'll actually find you, learn all about your style, and somehow put that into it.
And like you said in the past, it'll be like a fuse between Jesus and Charles Manson. Or no, who said that?
Right.
Someone said that about me recently.
Right.
You died laughing.
Jansen.
Oh, okay.
That's pretty fucking perfect. That's pretty perfect, yeah. We just realized that Matt has ears.
What?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's impossible.
Yeah. 3.
That's impossible.
And 2 pee holes. Just kidding.
You know what's so funny about that, Matt, is that obviously I told you I was going to check, and I did check, and I was normal.
Okay.
But I would say that a quarter of the time that I'm peeing, I think about that podcast.
Nice.
So, just so you know, when I'm peeing, you are in my thoughts.
Thanks, fella.
Dude, I keep trying to look, but every time I do, I end up pissing in my eye.
Man, I'll help you.
Okay.
I'll help you.
It'll be like that movie Ghost.
Yeah, that's right.
I'll help you.
You brought up before the show, and of course you're alluding to it, Josh, that there was a time, and Mez, I think you said, like, even from around the year 2000 and prior, that every tattoo artist, if they were asked who do they think the top 5 are, most people would have the same or similar answers.
I'm really curious because it was part of the book. I was literally writing about how part of what was so overwhelming about the change was the amount of names and the amount of talent, where it was like, okay, year 2000, he was the best guy for black and gray realism.
I mean, I'd probably go Bob Tyrrell.
Yeah. Who did Bioorganica?
Guy Aitchison, Brian Kane.
Yeah.
So it'd be like Guy Aitchison, Paul Booth,
Yep.
Bob Tyrrell,
Yeah.
and you Philip Liu. If you're really in the know, which it should be way more known.
So far, you've named 4 of my 5.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to hear what your 5th one is.
I want to say Bernie Luther, but that's a little bit out.
Okay, that's
out
not
there.
what I said.
So let's see. Bugs. Maybe this is actually original Bugs painting.
Yep, there. That was the fifth
Yeah.
one I said.
There.
Okay.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
Oh, we nailed it. See?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So I'm just really curious. And like, you know,
I had that list too, and you named off a few on my list. Now you guys were in the game before me, so I knew that you. And everyone you said, I didn't have bugs on my list. That just shows like my
Interesting.
era.
Right.
But I definitely had Paul Booth. Did you say St. Mark?
I did not.
I didn't learn about him until a bit later.
What's
Yeah.
weird is that even though he's one of my absolute favorites,
Yeah.
he seemed to come along a little later.
Him and Nico did later.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
because obviously Nico,
Yeah.
whatever you move the dates, Nico, of course,
Yeah.
he's going to
Totally.
be on
No,
there.
and honestly, you could do like almost 5 years before, like you could say 95, who was the
Right.
best black and gray realism.
Right.
Tom Renshaw.
Tom Renshaw's absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
So like
And
you
then
can pick an
somewhere
era
Jack-
and kind of be...
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jack
it's
Rudy
like
would
the
show up,
way-
maybe,
Right.
right? Yeah.
Yes.
But then you hit about 2006, and that's when you're kind of like, well, what are you into?
yeah.
Right.
And it was like, it felt almost like this choose your own adventure, like
Oh,
it's
totally.
like-
Totally.
And I feel like there is almost like, for lack of a better fucking term, the FOMO, where you're like, fuck, I can't keep track anymore. I'm no longer in control of knowing what's good.
Yeah. So,
Right.
And you almost have to be like, well, okay, I guess I'm just going to follow the realism guys because that's what I'm into. And then you're
Right.
like, wait, but what's happening over there?
Right. So what
Right.
happens, and it happened to you when I mentioned Daniel Breivik,
Yeah.
I'll tell my clients, I'll be like, oh, you got to check out the work from so-and-so.
Yeah.
And they've never heard of him. And then I tell them, oh, you got to look at it. And they look it up and they're like, oh, I am already following him.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what happened with Mez. She was already following
Yeah.
Daniel.
Yeah.
I don't remember names anymore.
Yeah, you just
Right.
are like, this is amazing. So follow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Like
you know
unless
what?
I meet a person or
Yeah.
unless they have to blow my mind so fucking hard if I don't meet them in person, and they probably still have to blow my mind so fucking hard 3 times
Sure.
for me
Yeah.
to be like, okay, I think I'm going to remember this name.
Yeah, so imagine being so when you interview somebody who's really new, like my wife, they, barely tattooing at all. Now she's been around, so
Yeah,
she's
that's gonna be different.
seen it.
Yeah.
But imagine the pressure too, because even people now, they're doing work that's Bob Tyrrell level,
In their
Oh, yeah.
4th tattoo. Absolutely.
right? And we're kind of like, yeah, they're doing pretty good. Like
Right.
like,
Yeah.
like too bad you didn't do this
Yeah.
even 10 years ago.
Yeah,
But
right.
imagine Matt. Matt's a phenomenal tattooer. Imagine if Matt went back in time
Yeah.
and tattooed like that in like
Yeah.
the 60s.
Dude, I think
Yeah,
I think about that
They'd
shit
kill
all
it.
the
They'd
time.
burn you at the stake.
No,
Yeah.
for real.
Yeah, right.
For real. Do you keep photos of the tattoos you did when you were like objectively compared to who you are as a person and an artist now? Like, do you have photos of the old
I
stuff?
do. Some, yeah.
Do you ever just like wonder what it would be like to be able to show that guy what you're doing now?
Yeah, that'd be
like
cool.
to just be like, hey, guess what you're going to be
Yeah.
able to do later on?
Yeah, I
Because that guy would probably just shit his pants and die.
I couldn't imagine
Yeah.
tattooing what I'm tattooing today when I was, going to nationals and all that stuff. I couldn't even.
Yeah.
So she actually emailed me a picture of the Nationals convention. Puts a book out every year. Yeah, like a really nice
It was like a heart, like a coil bound,
Yeah.
like laminate pages.
And it's got pictures of tattoos and stuff. And it had like 3 or 4 of my tattoos in there, and they weren't bad.
Yeah.
But you would never, ever know it was
not
me
what you would guess.
at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the whole book, and it was from, I think it was 2000. It was the year that Rich Ives won like a ton of fucking awards. If that rings a
So
bell.
22 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just, and I used to have this same copy of the book. And I remember 20-year-old me looking at this book being like, oh my God, this is the best shit in the world. If only one day I could be this good. And now I look at it, and about half of the names in there are people that are still tattooing and really, really, really good.
Yeah.
But they weren't in 2000.
Yeah.
So it's like
Gotcha.
almost a snapshot in history of like,
Wow.
the bar was like down. It was like here. And so if you can barely like walk on top of it, you're like fucking killing it.
Right.
And these people are fucking like heavy hitters that have been killing it for decades now.
And now daily, I'll just be on Instagram and I'll find somebody I've never heard of. And it's just mind blowing. Like it's so good that it's like, who am I to be teaching seminars? And this guy's out here.
Right.
But then I have to like, bring myself back around and be like, okay, I've got this to offer. And like, I get some of that imposter syndrome started, but
Yeah.
it's very rarely, do you notice this? It's Europeans. It's very rarely Americans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, there's incredible American tattoo artists.
Yeah.
But I feel like some of these explosions are coming out of just other countries in general.
Yeah.
And I guess it's because the social media has brought it together. And I've also noticed that it's been a boys' club forever, and some of the best tattoo artists in the world for sure are women.
Yeah,
absolutely crushing it.
Yeah.
So as a woman, I'm assuming that's got to be wonderful to see.
It's fucking amazing. I love it. I remember actually doing research when we were opening the shop, and this was 12 years ago. So it's obviously like it's been like this for a while. Tattooing is one of like 3 or 4 professions in the world where women get paid the same, if not more, than men.
Yeah.
And it's just because most people kind of get to set their own prices and get to choose their own hours. Mm-hmm. You know, you want to work 20 hours a week, fine. You want to work 50 hours a week, fine. You know?
Yeah, Caitlin works for us, and she is one of the busiest tattoo artists I've ever seen. She's like, you know, her schedule is so crazy. She gets all frantic and stuff. You know, she's as booked as she wants to be because she's a fantastic tattooer. She's got a great personality. You know, and I know years ago, even if she was at the level she's at, they'd still be asking her to, almost like an apprentice, even if she's making more money than anybody in the shop.
Assuming she's a counter girl.
Exactly. You know,
so I did have shit a couple of times early on. I think it was with LiveJournal. So it was before. Did you fuck with LiveJournal at all?
No.
Yeah. It was like, did you guys fuck with it at all? It was like a blog.
Did. She was a blogger. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
No photos. Like, you know, you could post photos if you knew HTML, which I learned.
Yeah.
I know you guys are impressed, but
I fucking am for real.
HTML?
I could do that scrolling italic.
Exactly, Hip.
He said, "What's HTML?"
What is it?
I'm old.
Hot tamales and lasagna.
Yeah, it's delicious.
Hot tamales and lasagna.
It was like, I guessed.
He thinks I'm being serious.
Coding. I don't even know if that's right.
Like,
I don't know what to call it. It's like
almost
very
like
simple coding.
Oh, is it pretty simple? I don't know it at all.
I learned the bare bones of it to make it look like I was fancy.
So if you needed to post a picture, you
had to know how to type in type words and then post the photo and then type something else.
Yeah. All right.
But I had a couple of times where people would find me on there and they liked the tattoos that I posted, and they'd go all the way up to email, and they'd be like, yeah, I want to get this tattoo from you. I like your portraits or whatever it is. And then they would just write back and be like, wait, I just found out you're a girl?
Oh my gosh.
LOL, never mind.
Are you kidding me?
More than once, yeah. Once it was from a tattoo artist.
Fuck that.
And?
Yeah. Right?
Kidding.
Matt does it right now. Yeah, he's like, podcast is done.
He was like, that was me.
A girl? Can you even hold a tattoo machine?
Yeah.
She's like, I'll do back pieces with 5-liners, bitch.
How do you not tip over your fallopian tubes?
Right, dude. Gets in the way every day. I use it as a foot switch.
Oh, God.
You're not going to lactate on my open wound, are you?
That's my stencil stuff.
Oh, shit.
Jeez. I wear a speed stick, too. Man.
Wow.
I'm sorry, Mez. Jeez, that's fucking ridiculous. And that wasn't that long ago, you know?
It really wasn't.
It wasn't.
You know?
It wasn't. It was probably like 2002, 2003, I'm guessing, when I get that kind of shit.
And just the statement you made is like, tattooing is one of the only things where women get paid equally as men, if not more. And it's like, damn, it's 2022.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So is some of that going to be in your book?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Good.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Oh, yeah.
And you know
So-
what you guys were bringing up, like the Renaissance and like how everything exploded and every works just gets better and better. And I'm sure your book will give us a better picture over time of reasons why and how. But sitting here hearing you talk, I could think of two. One was because Josh said, "Hey, it wasn't that long ago we had to buy phone book ads and spend $1,000 to be in a magazine. We didn't have social media, right?" So the demographic to even have reach, to even show other people what's even possible. Raising new bars was so limited. And it reminded me of like forever, no one thought it was humanly possible to run a 4-minute mile until someone did.
Somebody did.
It was impossible. But once someone did, like just a few months later, someone else did.
Yeah.
Just a few months later, thousands did.
Yeah.
Because they
that.
knew what was possible.
It was possible. And that's exactly it.
Yeah.
And what you were just saying is, I think, a huge part of it. And to be fair, a lot of people I talked to, I was surprised to find out a lot of the people attribute more of it even to the TV shows than to social media. But the part about social media that I think was what made it so different than even like the tattoo magazines was that there was no gatekeeper. It was like if you had access to a computer and a camera, you could post your photos and anybody who could find them could find them, and you could learn how to make it easier for them to be found. So it, like, that's why on that website, tattooartist.org, like I remember like discovering a handful of other people, a couple of them I still talk to. And that was like the first time I saw like, oh my God, people in Ukraine are doing what?
Right.
Like people in like Russia are doing what? Like people in France.
Yeah,
that's where I discovered Stefan Chodesay. Like I saw him in magazines before that, but that's when I found like
when I discovered Dmitry from Ukraine, I was just I wanted to quit, and then I found out all the pictures were healed, and he did it with the round shaders.
Yeah.
So I've talked to you guys about it. It would like it literally fucked me up. You know,
I'm going through a phase again right now, trying to make round shaders work for me. Yeah. I do this like every 5 years. And then I always go back.
Do you guys remember a website called Inked Nation?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was huge.
That was huge.
You know,
I even tracked down the guy that used to host the website to see if I could interview him, but I haven't heard back from him.
Man, they would hand you your ass if you went on there and like
it was me.
Because I had a couple people working for me that were cocky, right?
Yeah.
And I'd be like, "You think it's a good tattoo?" And they'd be like, "Yeah, I think it's great." I'm like, "Why don't you post it on Ink Nation tonight?" No. I'll see you later, a couple hours from now. And,
here's a Kleenex.
Yeah.
Wow.
Brutal. Yeah.
But that was also, I feel like, the forum, because that was also the first forum that I can remember where it was like really like you're talking back and forth with each other too. So there'd be like, you could post something in the critique if you hated yourself and wanted to cry. But you could have like conversations a little bit more like Facebook is now.
Yeah.
And there would be these conversations about people that were like trying to stop this from happening. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
There's like kind of a few like old heads that just didn't like the fact that anybody could have access to knowledge.
Right.
And like, or like they were mad. They were trying to like slow the speeding train of like the inevitable
gatekeepers.
It was really interesting.
Yeah.
It was really interesting. And I always felt like I had one foot in the old.
Yes, that's how I think because of how long I've been tattooing. It's difficult because even though I do realism, I definitely have so much traditional ideals, and I still love traditional tattooing.
There's
trauma,
like fucking trauma for that shit.
There's been so many fights in shops, and like you had somebody die in front of your shop.
I did. I had somebody get shot.
I don't know if I should have brought that up or not.
That's fine.
Yes, right in front of her shop, somebody got shot
over tattoos.
No, it was completely.
It was about. I think they got a 5th place trophy. And they were For those that are listening and wondering, we've had some moments before we hit record about Hip and his 5th place trophy. So
that's true.
Both of them.
No, but I also feel like, and I feel like I've heard you talk about this at least. I don't know if we've ever talked about it, but if you were tattooing in the 90s or even the very early 2000s, chances are whoever you were working with or the person teaching you was telling you like, what do you think, you're too good for this tattoo?
Oh yeah.
Like all of these like attitude things about like, oh, you think you just get to come out the gate swinging? And I think that they're just like, I still hear it in the back of my head.
I don't think they know what they're just mimicking something that somebody said to them.
Yeah.
You know, I remember being told, my tattoos are too fancy. Just do them. Don't. You know, not even like white highlight stuff. Just like finessing it. You know, a little bit of soft shading in the background. It was like just fucking do Tigger like Tigger. You know what I mean? Like do whatever it is. Just do it. Make me some money. You know. I know Matt talked one time about somebody came in that used to own the shop that Matt worked at, and he was like, "Who's ready to make me a millionaire or whatever?" And Matt's like, "Fuck you," you know.
No, but I feel like it really was like that.
Well, Matt's been tattooing for a long time, so he's
when did you start?
Yeah, so I'm on like 17 years, 05. It was in between 05 and 06.
Yeah.
Did that kind of check out for you too? From like noticing it just changing like right after you started tattooing?
It did, and you know what? Because the timeline you're talking, I feel like I showed up in the game when it had
as it was happening.
I think
as
so,
it was happening. You know,
that's wild.
Even you know how you were saying the change in that era, like the difference in just 5 years, right? So when it exploded, 5 years, then I showed up.
Yeah,
you know. But I also remember, like, you know, I wanted to be a realism artist out the gate, and I had been a realism painter for years. painted portraits on canvas for years. And it was that same mentality. I was told I wasn't even allowed to attempt a portrait until I had 7 years under my belt.
What an arbitrary number. You know what I mean?
Fuck,
You
dude.
know? And thank God for like my mentor, Brian Brenner. He's not the one that told me. And from the day I started my apprenticeship scrubbing tubes, 16 months later, I was with Brenner winning Tattoo of the Day for a portrait I had done of Ani DeFranco. Right?
And how stupid would it have been if you had to wait 7 fucking years to do that?
I
first
didn't even
portrait?
have to wait 2. And not only did I do it, but I did one well enough to win Tattoo of the Day. But the irony, Mez, was people hated me for it. Like my own team was mad at me for it instead of high-fiving me, you know?
It's so wild to me, man. I think it's so fucking funny. I get so excited for other people whenever they succeed.
Come on, yeah.
And part of it's kind of selfish, especially if they're my friends, because I'm like, sweet, I get to learn more shit from them.
Yeah, see, you're a natural guardian. Like, that's what we talk about.
Right.
Like,
That's right.
you know, being, rising other people up.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't understand. And Matt, I will give him all of the credit for it, has been instrumental in steering the ship in a much better direction.
Yeah.
Matt has taken on, I hope you don't mind me talking about this, Matt, with his Tattoo Business Mastery.
Yeah.
I mean, the messages I see is literally life-changing. I mean, how many people are like, I just parked my car and I'm sitting here reflecting on Matt's lecture and I'm crying.
Yeah.
Because it's changing their lives completely.
Yeah.
Matt, I just don't even know what to say. Hats off. Because I've always considered myself trying to help take tattooing in a better direction. One of the reasons that I love Mez is she's the same way.
Yeah.
But I got to just take a moment here and tell you, man, fuck.
Thank you,
I'm beyond impressed and I'm beyond proud. And you've given hundreds, more than hundreds of people the most valuable gift you could give them. And you've given me permission to carry that torch. So, I don't know, I don't know words to say. I really don't. Matt has changed so many lives. Like, I'm gonna fucking cry. But I seriously, man, I love you, and I just
thank you, Josh.
You changed my life.
Yeah.
You know, but I just see it. It's probably hard for you to see because it's you. So when you read something, you're like, that's really sweet. But that shit's real to the fucking bone, man.
Jesus, brother.
So to talk about just, I don't know. I just wanted to say that. I felt I needed to say that.
Thank you, Josh.
We need more of that. Everybody listening, please.
Yeah, no, seriously. And I don't mean to talk over you, but honestly, I hope you know that that's who you are for me. Right?
Thank you.
And
No,
that's
honestly,
who he is for me too, Mez.
Dude, no, I was having this conversation with Deanna before I left, and with my sister, and with Kevin, and not everybody, everybody right before I came up, when I wasn't sure if we were gonna be able to see each other while I was up here. And I was just like, man, I just feel like I don't know if I've ever actually said it to him, but I'm like, I don't know if I'd have the shop. I don't know if I would have even had the balls to apprentice Deanna.
Oh,
I'm not joking though. You have been so generous with your knowledge, and
Thank
for real,
you.
dude. I mean,
and so that's a great example. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's right.
So that's what I mean. That's why I wanted to tell you, because I know you read it. I know you see it. You're the busiest man ever with fucking a million things. But just take a moment tonight. Do me a favor. Go out on your back porch and just take a moment and just reflect on what you have done. I don't know who's done that before. Who has done that before in tattooing? Did they just yell at you to scrub the floor harder? And you're like, you can be your absolute best. You are filled with love. We've got your back. How many times have people just written that they were having a rough day, and Matt Clemmer writes them not only the message, but he does whatever the fuck it takes. He spoke at Chris's funeral.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just gonna shut up. But hey, man, fuck yeah.
Should me and Mez leave you guys alone?
I'll see you outside him.
Josh, there are no words, man. What a beautiful and powerful acknowledgement. especially
I wasn't expecting to
coming
do that.
from
It just really felt it. So
my God, that's what I call having a love attack, man. You just gave me one, for real, man. And thank you, man. There are no words. Yeah.
I think that it comes from. I was saying this the other day to Nikki. It's hard to find something that makes you happy and makes you money. It is totally in the right. There's always like one little piece where you're like, am I a scumbag because I'm doing this? Or it's like, we really preach leaving tattooing better than we found it.
Oh, yeah.
And like, there's no holes. There's no holes in what Matt's offering. It's just purely giving.
Yeah.
So he now has people so enamored with what he does, they're paying for other people that want to take the class.
That's really cool.
Because they want that. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. And it's not like it's cheap. So they're like, hey, you need to experience this. So, I'll write some of these people and I'll be like, you don't realize the decision you made when they're just signing up, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, get with me in about 2 months and we'll talk.
Yeah.
And we'll see how different your life is. And it always is. It always is.
Yes.
So,
Josh, I think I really needed to hear that tonight because, whenever you're doing anything, like when you're building anything, when you're making an impact in the world, especially for the positive, we already know haters will come out of the woodwork to just try and tear you down.
yeah, see, that's one of the things. He gets haters. It's weird.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I got
It's so much easy. It's so much easier to think that.
Today.
You what?
I got some pretty hurtful hate today, and so
I'm sorry.
Today?
Today, and so you acknowledging
that must
me
be
tonight,
why. That must be why I felt
think
it.
it was just like source of the universe, using you to like remind me of who the fuck I really am because I had a little broken heart tonight.
Well, you know me, man. I said it from the beginning. I used to be. We're real open about our past. I used to be somebody who I moved my whole life, so I adopted lying to try to fit in, and for many, many years now, I'm like, me, I'll tell you, I'll be like, I just told you a lie because I refused. I made stupid little lies like, did you see the new Elvis movie? Oh yeah, I saw it. I didn't see the movie. You know what I mean?
I love that about
So
and it's so quick, Mez. He does it like
I know.
it makes you wonder why he even lied because he immediately.
I'll like lose.
It's like a tick.
Yeah, it's exactly like Tourette's. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. By the way, I did actually see the Elvis movie, and if you like Elvis at all,
I want to see it.
holy shit!
Yeah.
I mean, it's fucking great.
I'm ready to see it.
Yes.
There's an Elvis movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. It looks pretty good.
We'll tell you all about it.
You gotta know HTML though.
Well, I'm just too busy out here winning trophies. So.
Just drowning in fifth place trophies.
You're gonna make a dress out of those ribbons.
No, but did you tell me that you lost them and didn't even make them home?
Yeah.
Get home?
Yeah.
Yeah, his
Now, what's
suitcase
weird is
came
Sorry,
out the conveyor. His suitcase came out the
Yeah.
conveyor belt, and
He lost
all
like
his
half his
shit was. I know it. Damn.
of all fucking people, like Hip's like the nicest guy ever, and they're like, you know what? Fuck him.
Somebody at that airport was jealous of all those fifth place trophies.
Man, you
Well,
remind me when you're talking
it
about
was
the airport.
probably a client, and they were like, "Nah, my shit was better." Until
Right.
Man.
Well, here's what's weird is, are you talking about the birds you just posted? Was that one of them?
yeah, yep.
That was really good.
See, that's mind blowing to
That was
me.
so good.
That tattoo was amazing.
And again, back to the whole time travel shit. Could you imagine if you saw that tattoo 15 years ago?
No.
Shit your pants.
You know what? Yeah, and I remember I tried to tell Hip 5 years ago and paint a picture of his life and what was possible for him, and he's already exceeded that. But when I tried to tell him 5 years ago, it was like dream status, like almost not attainable to him. If I would have told Hip 5 years ago he'd be sitting here at the table on a podcast with Joshua Carlton and Mez Love and me, he wouldn't have believed it.
Yeah.
And it's just beautiful. You know? If I'd have told Hip 5 years ago he's going to own his own car.
And since I've known him, it's gone well beyond that. Homeowner, I mean, just really like,
Yeah.
I don't know, just proving if you fucking have the grit and determination, that's why I know I'm going to survive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why I know
Yes,
that,
brother.
because
Yes.
it's going to work out like it always has.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. Yes. So good. Oh, so good. My God.
When you were talking about the airport, I remember this funny story. I have my convention banner in a tube, like a big tube. And so, when you walk past, when you land and you're going home, when you walk past the security gates, you can't turn back around without being patted down and everything. Well, there was a bathroom right by the security gates. And I went in there and I set my poster down to use the restroom, and I just forgot it. So without thinking, I walked out the gates and went, oh shit, I forgot my poster, and turned around. And man, there was fucking 5 people on my back in the bathroom. And I'm like, I'm just trying to get my poster, which looked super suspicious. I got this giant tube that I fucking got out of the bathroom, and looks to them like I came in and went and got that tube.
Yeah.
Like some kind of pipe bomb or something. So that was an exciting day.
Yeah, so good.
When do you think the book's going to be coming out?
I think I've never published a book like this before.
And you'll be self-publishing?
Probably. Yeah. I feel like that's probably the best option. But like, I'm over halfway done with it. I feel like I'm still... I mean, you wrote a book. I know, again, it's different. But like, when you're like, there's just one more thing and I don't know what it is. So
sure.
I'm still kind of nailing that down.
Sure.
I got to interview a couple of people. Do you remember that crazy tattoo school? I think I told you this last night.
Yeah, there's a TV show about it.
TV show. I actually got to interview a woman who went to that school. I
think they would like apprentice you for like 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
And you're fucking
it was supposed to become a show on TLC in 2011.
But the hate was so overwhelming.
Oh man, there was like petitions to the fucking White House.
On Ink Nation.
Yeah, on Ink Nation. Exactly. Yeah. So I'm just like trying to catch these like moments. I got to interview finally one person. I have another one coming up next week that has been on Ink Master. So I'm just trying to like get like different perspectives of people that have either been tattooing a long time that had like experiences directly related to these things, or people that were just kind of like thrown in and now you're on Ink Master, you've been tattooing for 3 years. What the fuck are you going to do?
Yeah.
And just trying to capture that moment. One of the things I really want to do, and I don't know how easy it's going to be for me to pull it off because I think it's a lot harder to publish it with photos. Maybe I should talk to you about this. I think it would be really cool for the people that I interviewed that have been tattooing for longer, like 20 to 30 plus years, to show a picture of like a tattoo that they did in the first 5 years that they tattooed versus something that they've done recently.
Absolutely.
Yes, just to be like a visual, like, no, seriously, like
stick. Yeah.
Yeah. Because people sometimes think you just come out and you're just Matt Clemmer immediately.
Right.
Man.
And I mean, every now and then you've got like
Nikki.
Yeah. David Gluck.
Yeah. And David's wife.
Yeah, dude.
Kate Stone.
She's insane. They're both insane.
Great people.
Too much talent in one couple pisses me off. You and Nikki, you're going to have to decide which of you is good.
But if we're using Nikki as an example, she's got a rare mentor that most of us didn't have.
Right.
To show her what's possible out the gate. Right. Instead of saying 7 years from now, I'll talk with you.
Right.
Yeah. Mez even noticed. She's like, I remember 15 years ago watching you tattoo and Nikki was sitting by your side.
Every time.
So she's really been somewhat pseudo apprenticing for 20 years.
Man.
Yeah. So it makes sense.
It shows.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, that's so good. And to your book, and I'm sure maybe you'll touch on this too, because obviously if you're doing that timeline of everything that's changed, and we talked about social media and the world of marketing prior to social media. Yeah. We talked about technical ability. You even brought up, whether this was on the show or before the show, back in the day, there were so many dudes that tattooed what we would consider maybe even below average today.
Yeah.
And then when, there was a storm of badasses like breaking new territory, a lot of them guys fell off or quit, couldn't even hang if they couldn't adapt and adjust and get better themselves. And then some like you two have adapted all along the way and have still been front runners. But you could show your measuring stick of your first tattoo to the ones you're doing today, right?
But I can tell you a secret. I almost quit.
Yeah,
I actually almost quit in 2005 because it was... it's embarrassing to say it, but I think a lot of people went through it where it was like it went from being kind of a fun job to being like I have to go home and draw and care and actually put time and effort. And it's not that I didn't want to do it. Yeah. It's that I didn't know how to manage time. I have ADHD and I don't know how to
And some people shut down over competition. If they feel competition, it makes people shut down too.
And I'm not competitive. Like it's the reason I only do one convention a year, and it's evergreen, and that's it's not like I don't really care who's best. I'm very happy. I love my clients. I have the best fucking clients in the world, and I'll fight anybody about it.
She's more humble than you, Hip. You hear that? She's gonna let you take fifth place, boy. Thanks, man.
Yeah, I'll take second, fifth place. I don't know if that would be sub fifth. I don't know, square root of fifth.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did get stressed out when there was this, like, there was a feeling of competitiveness of like, the bar was here. Yeah, you have to now be this good to keep playing.
Right. And so I
struggled.
And so what I'm getting at is, from a branding and marketing standpoint, the game's changed. From a technical ability, artistic, what's possible. 4-minute mile couldn't be done. Yeah. This style of tattooing or the portrait or Joshua Carlton's was at one point impossible. Wasn't even dreamt of until guys like Carlton showed up and did it. Now, the only reason why the Daniel Brevicks of the world exists is because the Carltons came first, right?
Absolutely.
And so in that same vein, how we represent ourselves as a business, with even consulting has changed. You know, back in the day, the way they treated people that came up in the shop is not the way you win today, right? No. And we've said before, from a technical standpoint, if you set down 5 of the world's best portrait artists and you give them all the same reference, same size, same thigh, whatever, what's going to make one stand apart from the other? If we know they're all going to nail it, it's all going to be great. And we've talked about that, really, how they leave the background, the style off of it. But let's take it to a business standpoint. If someone can go into the 5 of the best shops of the city and all their technical ability is high caliber, what's going to make a client go with this shop versus this shop? And it's how they're treated.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
People don't care what you know until they know that you care. And people don't care what's in your portfolio till they know that you give a fuck about them. And so that's the other piece to this puzzle. If we're talking an evolution of growth on presentation, it's not just technical ability. It's now tattoo artists have had to mature into higher levels of customer service as well.
And that was actually kind of another thing that I'm touching on in the book, and I'm sure you might remember this too, but like when social media was still kind of new, when Facebook especially was probably the big one, where there was kind of this, like, all of a sudden you have like your mom, your clients, other tattoo artists that you respect were all like seeing like whatever you said and what your friend from high school responded, and you're like, keep it professional or whatever. Yeah. And there were a lot of different schools of thought of like, you got to keep it really separate. Don't show your politics. Don't get in fights. And then other people were like, fuck you. I do what I want. Punk rock forever, whatever.
Right.
And I remember like a lot of people I worked with would get, they'd kind of like jibe me for that. Like, you're too political. You talk too much about whatever shit you give a shit about. I'm a little soapboxy for those that don't know me a little bit. But I've had clients that like sought me out because of it. Sure. And they were more comfortable getting tattooed by me because they knew that I believed in the same shit that they did.
You're being real.
Right. You know? That's right.
I am so much more comfortable in my own skin if I can be myself. Yeah. I can't fucking hide it. I used to try to bottle that shit up, and that's poison.
Well, thank you for bringing that up, because to clarify with our listeners, maturing into, for lack of better terms, great customer service doesn't have to be an either or, and it's definitely not about you becoming someone you're not. It's about becoming the best version of you, whoever that is, and then you will attract your tribe, your people, the people you're meant to serve, like you just broke down. So I love that, Mez.
Exactly. Yeah. I remember when I was trying to kind of find myself, I had this terrible like thing I would do without realizing it, where I would try to act like my client, to like, I was so worried about not clicking with them that I would start talking like them.
God, I love you, Josh. Dude, man. And he's already an empath, so he's gonna
all of a sudden I'm like, I just realized, I'm like, what's up? And it's like, I never say that, but he says it. So,
one of my best friends in the world, Katie, I've worked with her more years of my career than not. She's back in Colorado now, but I just realized that you guys are actually really similar, and she does that. but she does it on purpose, and she like honed it like a skill. And it's like hard not to crack up sometimes because she just chameleons into like people in the room, especially if she doesn't, especially when she doesn't like them.
Yeah, Nikki will notice it.
It's pretty funny.
She's just like, who is that?
And he's like, what do you mean? Yeah. I always talk like a gangster rapper.
Right.
I'm like, I just so badly didn't want to feel uncomfortable, so I just chameleon. That's a great word.
Yeah.
That's usually when I start voguing.
I know, you're just like well, hell yeah, I'm excited about this book. I'm excited to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's what you want.
Yeah. I mean, so far every interview has been not what I expected, and it's been
kind of cool.
Yeah, everything's been better than what I hoped for.
Yeah.
But I don't think I actually answered your question as far as like when I expect it to be out. I think within the year. I really do, unless I have issues with the publication process, which this will be my first time really doing it.
Yeah.
But I'm getting close.
I definitely think you should self-publish. I think today, the world we live in today, is like, why are you going to give somebody a big chunk of not only the money, but maybe even they might have advice that you don't agree with.
Right.
Yeah, do it yourself.
Yeah.
Whether you want to say it or not, have you thought of the title?
Hip.
Nothing has stuck yet. I've thought of a few, and I feel like with everything.
Fifth place.
How to go from nothing to fifth place.
Well, we found a title, so we're all here for this historic moment.
That's what I get paid the big bucks for.
And that's why I'm interviewing him. It's for the win. For the win.
That's right.
Save the best for last, baby. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Chapter 4, from heroin to hip.
Aw, shit.
Damn. HH up in this place.
But I do want to ask if it's okay. I would actually love to interview both of you sometime if you guys have some time. I think that would be really interesting.
My God, absolutely! I'm so honored, Mez.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think they'd be
Are you
perfect for
I
it.
feel like it'd be
just
really
to
interesting.
clarify? Are you talking to me and Mike, Mez, right now?
Yeah, of course. Of course. I don't talk to fifth place.
Yeah.
You got to get a hold of my people, and then they'll put it in my schedule. And I'll get to it when I get a chance.
That's right.
Do you ever answer your own emails in the third person like you're somebody else?
I have.
It's such a baller move.
Yeah.
Well, and Josh brought up recently that he was responding to a pretty important phone call via voicemail and thought it was voice note and was like, hey, I'll get back to you, comma, like.
Yeah, I straight up left, I'm all, hey, are we still doing that? Question mark. And I was like, oh my God, this is voicemail. And there's no way to erase it. I'm like,
You just start like walking backwards.
I know.
Like,
I just do a
throw yourself
robot.
into the side.
I think there was definitely like at least like a comma, a period, and an exclamation point before I realized it.
Oh, I love that so very
You
much.
just started
like-
speaking like that now
I
forever.
can tattoo. I know. Like actually like live.
Right.
Yeah. Man, if I had the balls to do that, fuck. I would
Question
love
mark.
to just hear the feedback.
Question
What's up
mark.
with Josh? Is that like a cancer thing? Is that like, man, I haven't seen you guys since last year. How you been? Question mark. Holy shit!
It's that chemo, man.
All right,
Just fucks with it. I hear it fucks with your speech for some
they're
people.
like, man, that fucking radiation got him. I know! Exclamation point.
Period. Aw.
I'm fucking doing it. I'm gonna go down and I'm gonna burn it all down. I'm gonna go down in history like that.
Fuck yeah, dude. I mean, the important thing is that you're remembered, right?
Yeah, I'll dedicate a year to it or something.
Right. People could be like, "Oh, that was Joshua's punctuation era."
That was his era, like
That's
the blue era.
Right. It's like, oh, that must have been when 2022. Is that when you were talking to him? Punctuation era.
Probably question mark.
Dot.
Well, Mez, it's been awesome having you on. Again, I think we're all honored to be a part of this project.
Yeah.
And I'm
Thanks for having me.
super happy that you're here and giving me these laughs that I so needed.
Yay.
And of course, it's incredible to see you guys again.
Yeah,
it's definitely been a while. Our schedules just have not lined up.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
And
love you, brother.
thank you to all our listeners
Yes.
for buying those cups of coffee. We appreciate them, and we'll keep drinking them. And Mez, before we go, I got 2 questions for you. One, reiterate again where we can find you on social media, and what is one of your favorite bands at the moment?
Ooh, at the moment. Oh man, you got to do me like that. You can find me on Instagram at Mez. I love how I always have to think about it. And still to this day, I've had it for like 12 fucking years.
Question mark, comma.
Comma. It's Mez_love_tattoos. And then lately, I think my favorite band, I get really noodly with the folk music, and I'm really into Goodnight Texas right now. In fact, I believe
You
I'm
rocking
wearing
the
this
hat.
fabulous hat that I got at their show a little bit ago.
Good night,
Really
Texas
good music.
trucker hat. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I do have a thing for a good trucker hat.
nice.
Nice. Ooh,
What's a good
I
band?
love that.
What are you listening to, Hip?
Gloria Stefan.
Yeah, greatest hits.
Fuck yeah.
Man, that
Explanation
rhythm
point.
will fucking get you. Watch out.
Dude, it got me once. I still haven't fully recovered.
It's been torture to me for years. I can't believe I even brought it up. I'm torturing myself.
Not really a lot of Steely Dan.
Yeah.
Fuck off. Eat a dick.
Ramble
Last
on
fucking
out of
podcast
here.
I would
Oh,
ever
man.
do.
I'm really honored to be a part of the last
The
podcast.
last
you guys ever
podcast.
did.
Yeah. Hey, Hip. Eat shit.
Explanation point.
Oh, God. Now I'm fucking sick.
Look what you did to Joshua.
I know it, and he loves that shit.
I've been listening to a lot of like they're modern bands, but they sound like the 50s doo-wop
cool.
music called Duran Jones and the Indications and the Sacred
Hell yeah.
Souls. Yeah,
I'm writing that down. Duran Jones and the Indications.
correct. And the Sacred Souls.
It's a long ass name.
Is that 2 different bands?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I already forget the first one, Duran Jones and the Indication.
Yep.
And the second one was what?
The Sacred Souls.
These Sacred Souls. Cool. I always need new music. I've been kind of in a rut. I feel like I've heard These Sacred Souls.
They're pretty dope.
There's somebody else at the shop's been playing them.
I've been writing a new album, and it's kind of got like a Richard Marx sound, but with a 2 Live Crew message.
Do you remember the Richard Marx video where he'd cry in it?
Oh yeah, dude. My sister learned how to play that on piano.
Oh, man.
Dude.
Oh wait,
That man was an angel.
this is how dumb I am. When you said Marx, I thought I was thinking Karl Marx, and I was like, oh, I get
He
it.
was
You're doing
also
like
an amazing pianist.
Cried a lot, too. Yeah.
Just like this, seizing the means of production.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I need to hang that joke up. It never lands well.
I
You know,
didn't fucking over my head.
I just always thought it'd be funny to have like a Richard Marx sound, but with like a 2 Live Crew message. But
I
most
think that's
people,
kind of brilliant.
Put
your
it together.
generation doesn't even know those guys.
Right.
You know, in the
Right.
90s, 2 Live Crew was like so risque. Their album
Yeah, they
was
would have
banned
sex
in
on
the-
stage
Well,
and shit.
even their album was like banned in America. You know,
I think weren't they the band? Wasn't that band the reason that the explicit
Yep.
sticker
Yeah.
came out for
Absolutely.
their CDs
Yeah.
or tapes,
So,
records?
I used to think it was funny, but every time I tell that, no one laughs.
Just crickets.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, some of my favorite jokes are just for me to laugh. Like I tell them
Yeah.
and nobody laughs, and them not laughing makes me laugh. So maybe you
I
could just
embrace-
put that.
Girl, I'm with you. I embrace awkward moments.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. I like the anti jokes. Like,
Oh, yeah.
ask me if I'm a truck.
Are you a truck?
No.
Yeah. Okay. I love how
Why did
much
the-
he loves it.
It takes a minute to set in, right? So someone's putting these muffins in the oven, and one muffin looks at the other muffin, and he's like, "Fuck, it's hot in here." And the other muffin's like, "Holy shit, a talking muffin!"
You want to hear my favorite?
Yeah.
Why did the girl fall out at the swing?
Why?
She didn't have arms. Do you get like a really clear visual? Because I see it
Oh,
every
yeah.
fucking
Totally.
time. It's so good.
Yeah.
My favorite.
How do you catch a unique rabbit?
A unique rabbit.
Huh.
How?
Unique up on it.
Yes. Yes.
How do you catch a tame rabbit?
Tame way.
The tame way.
Yeah. This is definitely our last episode.
Yeah.
We bring you quality every week.
Right. That's
We have
right.
fun here.
Woo, we do.
Oh shit, a talking muffin. Period.
You kind of got to say like real sad, like no.
No, like, be a lot
always-
cooler if you did. Yeah.
It always lands like super awkward and then a laugh.
Right.
Like if I could.
You kind of get the same with the girl flying out,
Yeah.
out of the swing, where it's like okay, yeah, that's kind of, and then you picture it, and then you're like, why am I picturing this?
Listeners, we need your jokes.
Yep.
We need your best jokes,
The
listeners.
worst jokes are the best jokes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Every day.
Man.
Awesome.
We need to get back to giving shout outs too. You know?
Yeah.
I will tell you, I'll give one shout out to a listener, Brother Ronak. Shout out to you, brother. And I think he's in Jersey. And I met him at the Explorer Conference. Last week was the Explorer Conference in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And it was awesome. But guys, you know, because we're filming right now, to all our listeners, you can also watch us every episode on YouTube. And I don't know why, since we're always so in the studio and making sure we got our cameras rolling, I just forgot that some people, and maybe a large portion, don't ever watch us, but always listen.
Right.
And I was at the Explorer Conference, and it was an after party. And, you know, there was people everywhere, and people were talking, and somewhere over in a circle, and people were like saying, oh, yeah, and even Matt Clemmer from the Tattoo Guardians and Tattoo Business Masters is here. And a bunch of them were like, really? Where? And they're like, that dude right there with the beard and dreads. And like, no way. And they all came running over, and they're like, we didn't know what you looked like. We've never seen you. And then when I started talking, they're like, but we know that voice. Because I was probably like, happy day, you know. Like,
God, that's gotta be so weird.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
I've only ever listened to it on YouTube. I've always watched it on YouTube.
Yeah.
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 It's been interesting.
Yeah.
It's been
Yeah.
really cool. Like so many people are like, I love how many non-tattooers listen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've got a
Huge
couple
blessing.
clients. Got a couple clients that like it.
Thank you, all of our listeners and viewers, so much. Your faithfulness week after week and supporting us and loving us and chiming in, and all of you. But tonight I want to honor you, Ronak. It was nice meeting you, brother. Thanks,
Oh, yeah.
everyone. Thank you, Mez, for being on the show with us tonight.
Yes,
Thanks.
thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah. My God, we'll have you back on when the book's ready to announce
Fuck
to the
yeah.
world.
Well, I'll launch my publicity tour here
All right.
Love
Yeah.
it. Let's fucking
before
do
I go
it.
on the Tonight Show.
There you go.
Really? Question mark?
Holy shit, a talking muffin.
Till next week, we'll see y'all. Take care.
See you guys.
Bye.
Man, what time is it? 12:14 a.m. Matt, I don't know about you, but I like coffee.
You know I do every day, all day.
Man, and I could go for one right now. So our listeners, did you know that you can buy us a coffee?
For real?
Yeah. All
Why
they
would
gotta
they do that?
Well, if you like what we do and you support our show and you appreciate our content, you can just go and click that little button that our producer Mike puts in every show and buy us a coffee just to show your contribution that you appreciate what we do for you to
Are you
help
for
us
real?
out.
People can really buy us a coffee.
Totally.
I would be honored if you bought me a coffee.
And not only that, but we got a little spot. It's special for the VIP listeners. It's called Close Friends on Instagram. And on there, you can see some behind the scenes content. And when the cameras ain't running, seeing all the shit we'd be talking about each other.
Is that true, Mike? Damn, you guys, this is the first I've heard about either of these. So they can buy you or me a coffee
Or Mr. Carlton.
or Mr. Carlton and like get a sneak peek behind the scenes
Yeah.
by doing what again?
Fucking smashing that button.
Okay. What button you talking about? I want to smash the button.
It's the button on the fucking thing.
Do it. Just do it.
Absolutely demolish the button. But thanks for your time again, and we appreciate all our listeners.
Always.